Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. And another heavyweight news and note smasher video today, starting with the purse bid being called for Trevor Bryan and Daniel Dubois. Trevor Bryan currently the regular champion, or they seem to have dropped the word regular from the champion bit in the WBA, and Daniel Dubois the #1 rated contender, formerly the interim title holder briefly before the WBA dropped those interim titles. So you can see here, this is from the WBA website, and we'll get straight to the text. And I'll just note though, this is terrible. Could they have not come up with something a little bit better? They don't even have the guys next to each other, something to scale, I don't know. I just kind of thought it was pretty cheap. The World Boxing Association Championships Committee has announced the purse bidding for the bout between world heavyweight champion Trevor Bryan and official challenger Daniel Dubois to be held on Monday, March 14, 2022. The bidding, which will be directed by the chairman of the Championships Committee, Carlos Chavez, will be held at 10 a.m. yada yada yada. Zoom platform. The WBA sent the communication to both parties with all purse bid proceeds, explaining the rules and conditions for this type of situation. Bryan must defend the title against Dubois after having received a special permission to face Jonathan Guidry last January. Dubois is the mandatory challenger because he held the division's interim title when the Pioneers Body World Title Reduction Plan kicked off. The American has a record of 22 wins, no losses, 15 knockouts. Dubois, 17 wins, 1 loss, and 16 knockouts. So the purse bid called. Maybe this will actually happen. When they did order that this fight was going to happen, there was 120 days to negotiate, and that was after Bryan's win over Jonathan Guidry, who was inserted into the rankings as a backup plan after Mahmoud Shah was binned off by Don King. I just expected that this was all going to sort of go away quietly. Trevor Bryan has been so inactive in recent years, I thought he would be mothballed for the rest of 2022, put back on the shelf, and it wouldn't happen. And Don King's comments after his win over Jonathan Guidry, where, Guidry probably had far more success than he probably should have against the guy, of Trevor Bryan, the number of fights that he's had, the experience he's got. I think people thought it was far more closer than it should have been. And King wasn't that complimentary and basically said Bryan had things to work on. So I just expected, it's not going to happen. This is going to fall by the wayside. It will just drop off, and will, at some point, Dubois will be mixed in with someone else in that sort of WBA title mix, eliminators, all that sort of stuff. But no, there is going to be a purse bid. They're going to hold it March 14, and maybe this will happen. But I guess with Don King being involved, and they're going to have to be very careful about this, because remembering, you have a situation where Don King, for the last couple of years with Mahmoud Shah, has managed to stifle his entry into the United States after he's won purse bids, and Shah was not able to get visas and blamed Don King and his people for basically obstructing him. So you'd hope that Frank Warren is the one, at least for Daniel Dubois' sake, wins the purse bid to avoid any potential shenanigans. Although King and Frank Warren have worked together before, but with King's track record, who knows what could occur. So it'll be interesting to see what falls out of these purse bids. Daniel Dubois, meanwhile, on social media, and this is what I'm talking about. So, this is a better sort of, they're next to each other, or it's not all disproportionate like this one here. Anyway, getting off, I just think when I can do a better job than the sanctioning body on these sorts of things, it's, and I'm not great with technology. But Daniel Dubois says tech talk with an hourglass, #D, #Dubois. So if this fight happens, I think that Daniel Dubois, for most people, will go in as favourite. But if Trevor Bryan can whip himself into shape if the fight goes ahead, because if he comes in looking out of shape, it just helps Daniel Dubois. But Trevor Bryan does have some skills when he wants to. He can box, he can use his jab, he does have some skills to fall back on. And obviously, fundamentals were part of the downfall for Daniel Dubois against Joe Joyce, who was circling and basically beat him with the jab. Anyway, Frank Warren has spoken of Dillian Whyte in somewhat flattering terms, given some of the rhetoric recently, but in his column he says, despite him being an awkward customer, I fully acknowledge that Dillian will be a tough and dangerous opponent for Tyson on April 23. He has done well in his career to work himself into position from his beginnings on the small hall circuit, and there's no doubt he will be doing his utmost to seize his moment at Wembley. He's a big puncher with a huge left hook, and Tyson cannot and won't take him lightly. It's a fight he has called for a long time, and now he's got what he wanted. I just believe that Tyson is too good for everybody out there, whoever it is. He carries all the physical advantages and possesses a boxing brain that is second to none. So we're in for a truly special night at the Wembley Arch, and I thank you for an incredible support of the event, while I am sorry for those who have been left disappointed on this occasion. Demand just completely outstripped supply. Moving on to the former unified champion Anthony Joshua, who's posted about sleep paralysis on his Snapchat, saying, "Who's experienced sleep paralysis? Crazy experience. I felt helpless." Lol. So that's an interesting way for him to sum up his performance against Alexander Usyk. But joking aside, sleep paralysis is no joke. Frazer Clarke, meanwhile, the Olympic bronze medalist, back for his second fight, and he'll be back in the ring 26th of March. So no opponent as yet. He says, I'm back in the ring 26th of March. I was straight back in the gym after my debut, working on my craft, and I'm excited to go again. The support last time was unreal, and I can't wait to get back under them lights. Particular information, yada, yada, yada. So given 3 weeks notice, I'm not expecting much in the way of an opponent. I mean, they have talked a big game about they want to bring along Frazer Clarke really quickly against tough, solid opponents. But at 3 weeks notice and based on what they served up first up, I'm not holding my breath that it'll be anyone good for the second fight. And actually, let's just keep our expectations in check. They're probably going to wheel him out 5-6 times this year. It's probably going to be lowly opposition, despite them talking up how good they think he can be. It'll be probably mostly traditional type prospect building. At least that's what I'm expecting. The Croatian heavyweight, Argon Smakici, he'll be back in the ring on the 26th of March on a show in Dubois, which is a Chino Maidana promoted show. He'll be facing Lenroy Thomas, the former Commonwealth champion. And Thomas, he's a real road warrior, fights anywhere. He's recently been in Germany, United States, and now obviously Dubai. So Thomas says, thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. And rounding up this heavyweight news and notes mashup video. So Bakhodir Jalolov, I thought this was interesting, and I'm just fast forwarding this little bit here on this clip, just so, the potential for copyright, just always got to be careful, but trolling somewhat, or I thought he was. He posted this in the day before Richard Torres's first pro fight, a throwback to his 2019 knockout win of Torres at the World Championships, where he laid Torres out. And you can see here clearly Torres in a world of trouble. Torres has since come on leaps and bounds and obviously fought Jalolov at the Olympics in 2021. Jalolov taking the gold there in a close and competitive fight. So I wouldn't mind seeing these guys meet up in the pros at some point, but the timing of posting this and Torres then fights the next day, I think that it's more than a coincidence. But what do you make of it all? Drop a comment loud and often, hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.